Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Exciting time in college basketball as college football gets ready to wrap up and our focus goes to the hard court. Let's bring in Michael DeCourcy from Sporting News and review some of the games that we saw last night. And Michael, I'm excited about this. My alma mater seems to be one of the best teams in the country, at least thus far. My Gators, they win 90-84 against North Carolina yesterday. They've been nothing but stellar to start the season here. And I wonder, Mike, is this legit? Is this real? Because the more they play and play against good competition, by the way, gets them ready for the SEC. Are the Gators one of those teams that we could see at the end of the regular season getting a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think they're very good, but they have had the advantage of playing teams that are just below or maybe a little bit less than that, the top echelon. They'll play top echelon when they get into the SEC. Kentucky and Auburn, Alabama are all outstanding. And if they can fare well against those opponents, that would be significant for them. I like their team. They move the basketball well. They shoot it well. They have size inside. I thought they did a really nice job against Carolina of establishing what the game was going to be about. And Carolina had to be a bit frantic with their offense. I mean, they ended up scoring. Carolina scored very well. R.J. Davis got it going, but they needed to be perfect down the stretch to hang with what Florida was bringing. Carolina could not guard them without fouling. So I like their team. But one of the things about this SEC, honestly, Craig, is that the scheduling has been genius. The teams like Auburn and Alabama that can handle it have gone out and challenged the biggest heavyweights that are out there. And the teams like Florida and Oklahoma that are very good but maybe not elite aren't taking big risks in non-conference, and it's paying off very well for them.
Yeah, so far so good. Can't complain. Will Richard's been great, 22 points. 3 threes last night, 8 for 10 from the field, 5 rebounds as well for him. All right, now, as far as Duke's game last night against George Mason, not a surprise. They win big. Cooper Flagg, another really strong game for them, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And here we are in December, and we've got a couple of players here that are dead even to win the Wooden Award in Broome and Flagg. And we have so many more games to play, Mike, here. Like, it's really hard to handicap this. Cam Jones is still in the mix, too. But it is unusual to see 2 players that are this close at this time of the year. Again, we're a couple of months into the season now.
Yeah, I hear a lot of conversation around games, analysts, play-by-play, saying that Johni Broome is the sort of the clubhouse leader for Player of the Year. But I was in Cameron Indoor Stadium when they were on the same floor, and there wasn't much doubt about which player was superior. Now, Auburn is having a superior season and probably will in the end, and that'll help Johni. It'll be interesting to see whether Cooper Flagg can justify those odds by he's going to continue to perform. There's no doubt. Can Duke justify those odds, I think, is really more the question. And with the way the ACC has performed in non-conference, I think that Duke should dominate. I don't know that they have any excuses for not putting up a really big number in terms of victories in ACC play. And if they do, then Cooper can stay in that conversation with Broome. But Auburn's going to be playing at the top of the SEC. They'll be first, second, third. They may need to be first or second in order for Johni to win the trophy, but they'll be in that neighborhood. They're an excellent team.
Yeah, I want to move ahead from the ACC and take a look at their standings here, because there's one team I wanted to ask you about, which I find fascinating. So Duke is minus 230 right now to win the ACC. Pitt is right there. But, Mike, the story in college sports for the conference has to be SMU, not just for the success they've had on the football field, but also on the basketball court. I mean, here they are. They're 9-2 on the season as well, followed by Stanford and Clemson. And by the way, SMU, 24-1, those odds are not all that long considering where we are in the season.
It's pretty remarkable. The Stanford number really surprises me. But Kyle Smith is an outstanding coach. He's already made a huge difference there. But SMU has been one of the stories of this season. You're absolutely right, Craig. Bought their way essentially into the ACC a year ago by agreeing not to take any television payout. I believe it's for 9 years. That's a long time to go without any television money. But they so desperately wanted to be at the highest level. and they were not going to get there playing in the American Conference. So a smart move, certainly, if you can afford it, by SMU administration. But to have this much impact, I mean, they hired Andy Enfield away from USC. Andy has been a terrific coach at FGCU as well as USC, and now at SMU. He's big on the initials, if you know what I mean. But he's done a great job with those guys early on. I think we'll see a little bit return to normalcy. I think Carolina will surge up a little bit, at least relative to the league. I'm not sure how they'll do nationally, but I think they'll get back into the thick of things as we get closer toward the end of conference play. They showed last night there's still talent there, but they're going to have to rebound better. I like what SMU has done. I like what Pitt has done, but Duke is the clear favorite, as that number describes. That's exact. I'm not a odds maker, but I would say, as I mentioned before, that Duke should be looking at a significant number of conference victories. There will be leagues where, like the Big Ten, 13 or 14 might win it out of 20. But Duke should be well in advance of that when they get through league play.
All right, another marquee matchup for the Wolverines on the court. Of course, after their loss to Arkansas, they now have a chance to make up for that tonight against Oklahoma. Once again, they're favorites, 2.5-point favorites in the Jumpman Invitational, total of 151.5. They'll feel a lot better if they win this one tonight, Mike, but again, short odds on this.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, Oklahoma has played really well. They're an excellent team in terms of organization and playing together. What will be interesting, every team that plays Michigan has to deal with the 2 7-footers. There aren't many teams that can put 2 7-foot guys on the floor and not suffer defensively. But Danny Wolf is such a dynamic athlete, and then Vlad Golden protects the rim so well that it works. So whether Oklahoma can handle that will be interesting to watch.
Mike, thanks again for coming on NewsWire. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your week, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.